elections due to take place this year across Africa, the focus of the talks will also be on how to ensure peaceful peace. Wars in South Sudan and the Central African Republic, both nations scheduled to hold elections as well as in Libya, are also due to draw debate. African leaders will also discuss the economic recovery of countries affected by the Ebola virus, taking up a solidarity fund, including a proposed African Center for Disease Control. The worst outbreak of the virus in history has seen nearly 9,000 deaths in a year, almost all of them in the three West African countries of Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone, and sparked a major health scare worldwide.
And we are back to continue with Al-Ahram page, but before going to more on the international events from Iraq, from what's going on regionally, let's shed more light on what happened in Addis Ababa. Ma'am, first, was it expected that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is going to cut short his visit and to return back?
Of course, and maybe this visit was targeted. If you remember, President of Turkey was in Addis Ababa just before the summit.
Yeah.
There were plans for Egypt and Turkey and Africa and Qatar, I mean, are going to attend the meeting to terrorism. Is this a joke? Isn't Turkey a NATO country? Isn't Turkey a NATO country? Isn't Turkey following the United States and the West? Is it a completely independent country that has no relation with the West, and they cannot pressure it when it is training terrorists and providing arms and providing safe haven for terrorists and safe corridor for them to cross to Syria, to cross to Iraq, and helping them in every way, and the West cannot see that? They only can see that security in Egypt are using excessive force against people who are committing violence, who are killing Egyptians every day. They don't see the people killed in Egypt every day. They don't see the losses in Egypt every day. Or are they very happy with this war against Egypt and they are part of it? Everything must be clear. They must be clear in facing Egypt, that they are pressuring Egypt. They don't want Egypt to be independent. They want Egypt to develop.
Whenever we are talking about the achievements or the steps Egypt is taking forward with more relations with the diversity of relations we have, and the relations based on mutual respect, and the successful trips by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to China, to Italy, to France, and now to participate in the Addis Ababa, or the 24th session of the the 24th summit of the African Union. Whenever we are moving forward, you are going to find many of those with those who are following the conspiracy theory, as we say.
Yes, this is a direct reason for what's happening.
And here the question is, why I was asking you about, was it expected that Sisi is going to return back? Because many would say, continue with the same track, and you would find people here who would do whatever you like and not to return back on the spot. Because this is going to encourage those, oh, we did it. Oh, we succeeded in bringing him back. Oh, he had to make other meetings on the sidelines of this summit, but we forced him to return back. You know, you would find the two options or the 2 points of view. Were you with or against?
He is a leader. Who has a true relation with his people. He cannot be outside Egypt while Egyptians are mourning their victims. But for me, I would have preferred that he would stay and continue his trip. In fact.
Tell you something. Before being a president, he was the father of every and each soldier, the youngest soldier in the army, and he would never be able to forget that. And because of this, the grief and sorrow on his face, not more than expected, of course, more than any other president would show. These were his real feelings. And since we are talking about the war against terrorism, there are tens of armies, or to be accurate, countries uniting to fight Daesh. But what they are doing there is different, much more different than the Egyptian army is doing against those groups affiliated to Daesh in North Sinai. 18 airstrikes by the coalition on Daesh posts. The range of fighting increases in northern Syria between al-Nusra and Hazm. Fighting between the Syrian arm of Al-Qaeda and Western-backed rebels in northern Syria. Clashes began on Thursday when Al-Qaeda Syria wing of al-Nusra Front seized positions from the Hazm movement west of Aleppo and threatening one of the few remaining pockets of the non-jihadist insurgency. And the bloody day in Iraq. This is also another headline from Al-Ahram. Tens killed and wounded in attacks and blasts in Baghdad and Samarra. A violent attack by Daesh on the Kurdish forces in Kirkuk leaves 45 killed and injured. Daesh militants strike at Kurdish forces Peshmerga southwest of Iraq city of Kirkuk, while bombs in Kirkuk, Baghdad, Samarra and Ramadi killed at least 27 people. This is to echo what you have kindly said, ma'am. Egypt is fighting on its own and by itself.
Yes.
And all those
pressured all the time.
All those countries are allowed to fight Daesh and
they can't.
You have the mic.
Yes. Egypt is fighting alone. This most dangerous organization that does not recognize nationality, that doesn't understand the meaning of homeland, that doesn't respect the population, that is ready to sacrifice all Egyptians for its targets. And the whole world is combined in fighting just Daesh in Iraq. Who created Daesh in the first place? And every now and then we read someone saying that, oh, don't live in this conspiracy theory. There is no conspiracy. It's just our problem. We are weak. We are complaining all the time because we are weak. No, we are not weak. We are facing a true war. It's not only a matter of just even thousands of terrorists in Egypt or in Iraq or in Syria. These terrorists were trained, were provided arms, were provided money and every kind of help to break the most strong countries in the Arab world in the framework of a bigger plan to redivide the region,
the new Middle East,
and to make sure that Israel will be the only force in this region. They wanted to break Iraqi army and they did that, Syrian army, and they couldn't do that until now. They are still fighting, and of course in the first place they wanted to destroy Egyptian army, and they will not be able to do that. I tell them, read history. You will not be able to break Egypt or Egyptian military. You will never be able to do this.
To end with Yemen, from Al-Ahram we read, Washington admits the lack of information hinders the efforts to face Al-Qaeda in Yemen. The ideological leader of Yemen-based Al-Qaeda in the African Peninsula says that France had surpassed the U.S. as the top enemy. Ibrahim al-Baish said in an audio message published by the media of the Al-Qaeda on YouTube that with the weakening of the United States in recent years, France has replaced America in the war on Islam.
Why? Is the United States a friend of Al-Qaeda? You may ask yourself. Why isn't the United States the primary foe, the primary enemy, the first enemy of such an organization? And all these jihadists claiming, they in the first place they claim that they are fighting for Palestine, for the oppression Palestinians are facing. And didn't this Ansar Bayt al-Maqdis, supporters of Bayt al-Maqdis, know that just yesterday it was announced that Israel is building new 450 units in Palestine, and it is eating Palestine bit by bit while they are fighting Egypt, while they are breaking Iraq, while they are fighting Yemen, while they are fighting Syria.
They have nothing to do with Bayt al-Maqdis. They have nothing to do with Islam. They have nothing to do with jihad. They are mercenaries, they are terrorists, they are criminals, and they are nothing but that.
They are mercenaries employed by who? We must ask ourselves.
By those who can pay. Ma'am, thank you very much for being with us. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, but have a very good day. Dr. Hala, Enara, our political analyst.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, by this we come to the end of our Press Digest. Please stay tuned on Nile TV International to continue with more items on the breakfast show. We will be back right after the short break. Stay tuned only on Nile TV International.